Heidiology, you artistic pieces of shit. Heidiology, yo, light your blunts and pack your bowls. Heidiology, bro, burn that shit like acetone. Heidiology, yo, introducing salty Paul. Heidiology, bro, you can lick it salty. You better open up the door, bitch, it's gorilla. Got your pussy asses screaming like no vanilla. No vanilla. If you knew up in this bitch, then you might be lost. You might just get the shit cannon like Kawaii cost. Sorry. So give me the lighter, light the cigarette fire. This is the shit we admire. Get the business down to the wire. You must be tripping, this ain't easy work. We burning Bibles and Qurans like we TJ Kirk.
What it do?
Because Paul is on a mission, obliterating the tism of this generation of offended bitches and syllogisms, tripping acid, having mystical visions, and staying in the mid, growing older and older while you be shitting. Got your girlie getting wetter, why you still screaming, DP better? I don't really give a shit if you a fantasy, get banned when you mention the manatee, and can it be a little bit of vanity? Got me questioning my sanity, pessimistic philosophy, honestly, I want my Heidiology. Yo, light your blunts and pack your bowls. Heidiology, bro, burn that shit like acetone. Heidiology, yo, introducing salty Paul. Heidiology, bro, you can lick it salty balls.
Hey, hello. How's everybody doing this morning, this afternoon, this evening, this night, whatever it is for you? It's been a few days, huh? Had a long run of these unbroken Heidiologies, and then I had to take a little break. The tism got to be too much. Had to take a little tism break, if that's okay. At the back end of a tism break is yet another Heidiology, as usual. Is debate night 2 still happening? Fuck yes, it's still happening, bro. Fuck yes, it's still happening. There's no way that's not happening. Yeah, no, we're doing it. It might not be, I mean, we're obviously not going to be able to stream it on YouTube. But we'll be covering it. Even if you're not a patron, you'll get to see clips and shit of it eventually. So don't worry about it. We're going to be there suffering through debate night 2. You're at camp in Erie with no Wi-Fi. That's okay, Squirlatosis. I have a very generous vacation and benefits package for my Spectres. I think it's probably the best in the business. Spectres can go on vacation and leave for however long they want, whenever they want. They don't even have to tell me. I mean, I'm a lenient fucking master of the Spectres. You know, I let them do as they do. It's going to be more boring. You think tonight will be? I don't know, man. It depends, because like, what I'm really interested to see is Joe, right? Joe Biden. He's been getting hard prepped for this. He did not do well at the last debate. So you're going to see probably a somewhat different Joe Biden at this debate. I don't see him being as bumbling and as improperly prepared as he was for the first one. So he might provide some pretty fiery pushback to Kamala, who went after him really hard. I mean, that's going to be another thing on his mind, is that in the last debate, Kamala really like took him out behind the woodshed a couple of times. Predictions for Yang. I hope he does well. Like, I hope he can inject some talk about the his UBI plans and the coming automation crisis and shit, because you know, at the very least, that's what his candidacy is about. I don't really think he's viable as a possible presidential candidate, but you know, as an injector for talking about something that needs to be talked about, I hope he does better than he did in the last debate, and I hope he doesn't try and blame it on his mic not being turned on. Like, if his mic isn't turned on at this debate, and he feels he's been being stifled, he needs to say something at the debate. Because when you wait until after a bad debate performance to start coming up with excuses, like, I don't know about you guys, but I just immediately don't want to buy that. Like, when it comes to like how he performed in that debate, he got his time, and it's on him how poorly he did with it. So, yeah, Tulsi is definitely going to drive home that she was indeed a soldier. But that's okay. Buttigieg was doing that last night, so Buttigieg was Mr. Soldier last night. I wonder if they're going to open the proceedings tonight like they did last night with like a 15-minute long weird patriotic, I guess, parade. I don't know what you call that when like a bunch of old veterans hold the flag and walk all slow and do all the military shit. But that was, those of you that watched last night, that was like incredibly awkward to pad out that already overlong 3-hour fucking debate with, I don't know, like, I'm trying to be honest about it and not get too hyperbolic, but like it seemed like 3, 4, maybe even 5 minutes worth of jingoism and bullshit. It's like, okay. His recent interviews, Yang never mentioned his mic being turned off. Why wouldn't he mention it anymore? Because he knows, like, he probably knows what I just told you. Like, even if it's true, and I don't see any reason to disbelieve it, I mean, you know, they were probably trying to keep it from devolving into just a bunch of people screaming into their mics, and they probably were turning off certain people's mics and shit. So I don't think it's necessarily incorrect. I just don't think his mic being turned off had anything to do with how poorly he used the time that he did have when his mic was on. And if he really felt like he was being stifled at the debate, the time to bring that up was at the debate. Like, why is my mic being turned off and this candidate isn't? Like, I have things to say too. I have every right to, you know what I mean? Like, he could have said something like that and raised the issue there. He didn't. And so now I guarantee you the people that are prepping Yang are saying, like, drop that shit. Like, people don't care. Like, even if you have a valid excuse, even if they did throw you off by muting your mic and shit, people literally, it's post-debate. The fight's over. It's like somebody getting knocked out going like, well, you know, he threw an illegal punch. It's like, at this point, dude, you hit the canvas, you fucking, you got to take your lumps, you know. I have turtle, kitten, brain, Hickenlooper shall campaign. Yes, dude. Don't summon the Hickenlooper, man. Yeah, I didn't see anything over here, so it's YouTube fuckery. I haven't dropped any frames, so it's not my fault this time. It usually is my fault if y'all cut out, but this time, blame the YouTubes because it wasn't me. See, look. It wasn't me. See, look. Told you. Everything's gravy. It's a gravy train with biscuit wheels here on Heidiology. That's really like, I like that phrase. And I think that's the official motto of Heidiology. Heidiology, a gravy train with biscuit wheels. What do you think about that? I like it. Yeah, we're going to post on Vimeo, give people a link to it. We're also going to be cutting up various parts of the debate and putting it out in lieu of Flash Fried because there's no way we're going to do 2 hours of Flash Fried and then immediately 3 hours of fucking debate today. That's like, you know, I got to be honest with you. Wednesdays, I love doing Flash Fried, but I got to prep myself for Wednesdays because I don't, you know, I'm not a news hound like I used to be. I just had to, for, you know, mental health reasons, kind of take a step back from following the news every day. So Wednesday, I've got to, like, gird myself for, like, okay, I'm going to hear some fucked up shit. And this week, yeah, the fucked up shit is going to be just the debates and the clown show that is, you know, the fucking Democratic primaries here. Butthead compilation. I think that's probably going to happen. I haven't really had a whole lot of occasion to bust out my butthead, so I'm glad that people enjoy it because it's been a long time. But dude, when I was a teenager, I worked so hard on my butthead. Like that butthead, I really wanted to be able to do a good butthead. So, but yeah, I guess one of those things I haven't really busted out for you guys a whole lot. But yeah, I got a pretty mean butthead. I can do a decent Beavis, honestly. Oh yeah, yeah. But it's not as good as my butthead. My butthead is eerie. Whoa. Yeah. Okay. You know, Beavis is just harder, I think, for me. Scotty does an okay. None of us do a good Beavis, though. I'm gonna be honest with you. Not one of us has got a killer Beavis, but I've got a good Butthead. So your best Hank Hill. All I can do as Hank Hill is, God damn it, Bobby. I sell propane and propane accessories. That's all. Those are the only things I can do as Hank Hill. Fall into utter degradation, from there ascend out with the power of chaos. Hey, whatever you say, bro. Ditto to what that guy just said, you know what I mean? Ascend out of the power of chaos, bro. Ascend up and out of the power of chaos. I do a pretty decent Peter Griffin too, but I can't really do like a running Peter Griffin. I didn't work on it enough, but let's see if I can pull my Peter Griffin. I might not nail it the first time because I don't do Peter Griffin a lot. Let's see if I can get it. Hey Lois, why do women have boobs? So you got something to look at when you're talking to them. That's about all I can do. Yeah, Homer. I know, I don't do a good Homer. Is Beavis and Butthead worth seeing to someone who still hasn't in 2019? If you can find the originals, like with the music, because like really Beavis and Butthead, if you talk to somebody that watched it when it was out, like the skits and stuff were cool, like the little storyline things that the cartoon would do were cool, but really the highlight of the show was them sitting on the couch and watching music videos. And a lot of that has been lost to time because of licensing deals with the bands and shit. Like MTV had a pretty unique position where they had this license to show these videos, so they were able to get away with it because they already had the license to show the videos, and now they don't. And the people that made those videos are all fucking broke now and want to get paid for everything that's used with it. So it's just, you know, if you can find, you know, a collection of all of the old Beavis and Butthead cartoons with that part in it, then I'd say it's probably worth watching. If not, then I probably wouldn't bother. Fingli Maglunath Cthulhu Relay Uganaul Fatagan. Ah, yes. Liquid TV characters. Yeah, I don't know, man. There wasn't a whole lot of. I watched the Max. I watched Spawn. I watched The Tick when it was on Liquid TV for a while, but I didn't really. I was really into Beavis and Butthead, Spawn, and just all of the. I guess Aeon Flux was one of my favorites that would come on Liquid TV. But I just really liked the show because a lot of it was just one-offs, like animators that you'll never hear from again doing some weird shit. Where can we watch DFF Debate Night 2? Well, I don't know that we're gonna be able to stream it because we got beaned last night for trying to stream the first one, along with a bunch of other channels I'm hearing. But Vimeo is where we're planning on hosting it. Try Twitch now. Twitch is too restrictive in other ways. Like, that's the problem. People, we constantly get advice to try Twitch, and trust me, I've considered it for these streams even. But the way the climate is now and the way Twitch is, like, some of the shit that I talk about just casually here with you guys is considered way too edgy for Twitch. and it's just asking to get banned. So I don't want to build up this whole like, okay, yeah, we do it over here, and then just have it get banned and end up back over here. I mean, I don't know, dude. I checked out DLive back when it first was kind of a big thing that people were doing as an alternative, and TJ checked it out too, and neither one of us, I don't think, was all too impressed with the back end of DLive, and all too confident in DLive being around as a streaming platform for long enough to make it worthwhile to put the effort in trying to move your audience over to it. Will it be a patron-only stream? I honestly don't know. Like, the contingency plan we had for getting beamed was that we were simultaneously recording, so they couldn't kill that. We have the entire first debate tonight. Streaming on Vimeo is touch and go for most people. Like, every time we do it, because we have to, there's a bunch of people that say like, oh, I couldn't even stream this, Vimeo sucks, took forever to load, blah, 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 you know, because Vimeo's just not optimized. So I don't know exactly if we're going to do a live stream tonight, and if we do, whether or not it's going to be a patrons only live stream or a publicly available live stream. I don't know. You'll have to stay tuned. But eventually you'll get to see it anyway. Like, we'll be recording it, so... Why do British people pay you and TJ as patrons when you both hate British people? Because maybe they hate British people too. Maybe they realize that we're fucking dead on correct, and that British people are shit, and that Great Britain is shit. And, you know, I feel like I don't have as much hatred for the British people as I do just Great Britain itself. Because I feel like that the British people, by and large, are just reluctant Brits that wish that they were Americans. Like, even the ones that are proudly, staunchly like, oh, I'm a Brit. I'll wave the Union Jack whenever I can. I love being a Brit. Like, deep down in their souls, they wish they were American. And that's true of anybody, anywhere in the world. Anywhere in the fucking world. It may not be true forever, but it's still true now. If you're living outside of the United States, there is a small, maybe even imperceptible to you, maybe even subconscious, but it's there, burning ember in your soul that wishes that you'd been born an American, or wishes that you had the means or the ability to set aside your ego and just become a fucking American. That's just the truth. Now, that may, like I said, that may not be the fucking truth forever, but as it stands right now, if you're not in America, you want to be here. You may not, you can argue with me, you can say, no, I loves it here. Oh, I loves it in old West Chesterfordshire. I wouldn't leave for nothing. But if, like, dude, you know, if some fucking fourth dimensional being showed up in a consequence-free environment and said, you can have your life again, but as an American, every last one of you yuck-mouth fucking British motherfuckers, maybe one or two would say no. The rest of you would all be right over here waving the stars and stripes, cooking hot dogs and bitching about the government. I know you people. You know what I mean? We look, as Americans, one of the things that Brits don't understand, and I hate to be the guy that has to deliver this to you, as Americans, we fundamentally understand what it's like to be British. We came from that. We came from you. We are from you. We are a splinter group of you. So you can't even claim like, oh, Americans just don't know. They have no idea what it's like to be a jolly old Brit. Bullshit, it's in our blood. We're of you. So we already know your experience. The reason why that Brits are angry at Americans a lot of the time is because there's an imbalance in experience. We know what it's like to be a Brit. They don't have a fucking clue what it's like to be American because their ancestors stayed there, kept sucking the king's dick, kept sucking the queen's dick when she came along. You know what I mean? Their ancestors didn't have the fire in their blood to be free and to make something new like those of us that are descended from Americans did. I'm sorry. We spilled our fucking guts and blood all over this goddamn land for this place. Twice. You just can't know. You can't know what it's like to be free. To not be under the thumb of the royals. To not have to pay the royal family to sit around on their fat royal Habsburg asses. We don't do that. We toss these motherfuckers out every 4 or 8 years. And we bitch about it the whole fucking time. Yeah. That's exactly right. England is the primordial ooze from which we evolved. Americans crawled out of that ooze, and Britons are still living in it. That's the difference. That's really the only difference. You're close cousins of ours. You know? You're just the ones that chose wrong. That whole fucking island should have come here. Leave that king to rule over a barren fucking wasteland. Craggy ass, rocky ass bullshit anyway. Come over here where the fucking amber waves of grain are. Purple mountains majesty above the fucking fruited plain over here. Where's the fruited plain in fucking Great Britain? Where are the purple mountains? You ain't got none of that shit. The Scottish Highlands are pretty cool. I mean, yeah, maybe there are. Who the fuck wants to see them, though? We got Highlands over here. We got better Highlands. Isn't it beautiful? See, that's the thing that's like really sad about the American Empire ending, is because all that is still true. You know, it's in decline, and it won't be true forever, like I said. But man, dude, it's still pretty awesome to live in the place where everybody wishes they were. Deep down, you know. There's no ancient history in America, you dog. There isn't. There were human beings here in America for every bit as long as there were human beings in most of the places you're talking about in Europe. I mean, the migration, yeah, you might have a few years on us, but that migration happened. There's a ton of ancient history in the Americas. You're just stupid. The people that had this land before we, the good Brits, the chosen Brits, came and took it from them, had thousands of years of history here. How were the Indians treated? Unfairly, horribly, violently, and brutally. Came here to say you're amazing, Paul. Hey, thanks, Michael Jimenez. What a nice thing for you to say, bro. Thank you. I wouldn't want to live in America, not in the current political climate. I'd prefer to go somewhere else like Norway. As soon as you got to Norway and landed and set up shop there, you would feel that little ember in your soul going like, this move could have been to America. I mean, Norway's cool, but could have been America. So you can do that if you want. I mean, like, look, dude, a lot of people stand on that principle, you know, and it buries their true desire. But I don't judge you for that. It's a very human thing, you know. Oh, yeah, I don't like America. I don't like the current political climate. I don't. I would never move to a place where I'd have to live under Trump. That's just something I would not do. Yeah, you can do that, do all the hubris and all the blustery, blowhard bullshit. Like, you can do that if you want. If that's what it takes to get you to lay your fucking head down in Norway and pretend it's as good as America. Or Britain, or France, or Germany, or Mogadishu, or wherever you live. You know, if that's what you got to do to put your head on your slightly less comfortable than an American pillow and pretend that you're happier than you would be over here, how am I going to stand? Dude, it's your happy, not mine. You know? I'm not going to try and stand in front of that. But Don't come in here and pretend with me, because I got your number. I'm an American, I know. Been an American. Was born an American. Got America in my blood. Of course you're not happy with this country. Even if you're in America, you're not happy with your country. That's not what I'm talking about. In fact, that's a fundamental fact about America. You're not going to be happy. You come here, get yourself settled, and you know what's going to happen? Somebody's going to piss in your fucking Cheerios. And you're going to have to deal with it like an American does. That's right. There's going to be no like, oh, I'm going to go to the council house and complain to the secretary there that the prime minister needs to immediately fix my street. That doesn't happen in America, motherfucker. You got to get mad here, motherfucker. You got to go out there and fucking force those motherfuckers to do shit. And even then they won't do it. You got to take that rage and put it into the political process. It ain't easy being here. You fucking kidding? This place is a fucking nightmare, but you know what? It's our nightmare. That's right. It's my nightmare. And you want to be in it too. You want to wake up from the dream that is your life and fall back asleep into the American motherfucking nightmare because you know you want it. Everybody wants it. And who could blame them? Who could blame them? Like, look, let's look at it from a broad perspective, humanity speaking, right? Not regional. Let's take down the borders for a minute. Which group of people got the best piece of land on this fucking planet? Be honest. Which group, which quote-unquote country settled their asses on the finest piece of fucking land that this planet has to offer? America. The United States of America. From sea to shining motherfucking sea. And if you say anything different, you're lying to yourself or you're trolling. You feel me? That says it all. I didn't even have to go into the politics or the standard of living or the American attitude or the American soul. We got the best land, motherfucker. Your land sucks compared to ours. Whatever you got, we got better. You got a jungle you're proud of? We got jungle, motherfucker. You got a desert you think is beautiful? We got those. You got mountains? Don't even get me started on mountains, motherfucker. Which mountains do you want? East Coast or West Coast? What do you got that we ain't got better? I'll wait. What about the girls? America is like a hot girl farm. You know how we produce like a significant percentage of the produce that all of you eat? Well, we're not just growing peaches. We're not just growing oranges and tangerines for you to suckle on. We're growing hot bitches. Like they're a farm product. And everybody says, oh, well, yeah, bitches are harder here. But all the chicks, all of that genetic fucking material that makes the chicks in Russia hot, if you're one of those people. Oh, Russian chicks are the most beautiful chicks. Oh, Norwegian chicks are the most beautiful chicks. Oh, you know, this, that, whatever your thing is, you need to change what you're saying. American chicks are the most beautiful chicks because all of that genetic information that builds what you think is the hottest chick in the world is here, motherfucker, because of exactly what I'm talking about. Because their ancestors knew what your ancestors didn't know and what you don't know. This is the place to be. They brought their hot chick genes here, and we grow them. What kind do you like? Pick your poison. You want a big blubbergumptious bitch? We got that. You want a tight ass? We got that. You want an Asian? You want an African? What do you want? We grow them here. They're like weeds. Come here and pluck one. America sucks and you're trying to convince otherwise at this point. Actually, no. I'm not trying to convince anybody. I'm stating facts. I'm stating facts to that bitch ass. It's just a fact. I ain't gonna ban him. I want him in here. I want him in here suffering and hearing these facts coming out of my mouth and knowing deep down that it's all true. Oh, he's right. The land is better. Oh, he's right. Being an American is fucking just cooler. Oh, he's right. That is the place where the most opportunity is. Oh, he's right. That's the most dynamic fucking country on this planet. Oh, he's right. That's the country that's got the most leverage on this planet. Deep down, all that shit's happening, and you're in my chat going, LOL, Paul tried to make excuse. No, you're trying to make the excuse, motherfucker. You're the foreigner trying to pretend you don't weep into your pillow every night that you weren't born here under this flag. And that's just the truth. Just the truth. You know it and I know it. We don't even have to be having this conversation, but we are. You know the truth. You know you can't be what we are. We export jealousy, yeah. Envy, jealousy, and the green-eyed monster. Those are the three biggest exports of the United States. And every last one of you motherfuckers is importing it every day. Oh, you love it. You can't get enough. You can't get enough of that fucking green-eyed monster. That envy. Oh, yes. Thoughts on Bernie's performance last night? You could tell he prepped to have a higher energy coming out the gate, and I thought it really served him for the first hour, maybe hour and a half of the debate. But I think Bernie really, like, he's old, and I'm not trying to invoke that again, but he's an older dude. Standing there under the hot lamps for 3 fucking hours is probably not the easiest fucking thing for him to do, and I could tell that he hit kind of a crescendo and then started to decline. I mean, his closing speech was not great. I mean, it wasn't horrible, but wasn't great. His energy in the last, hour or so especially was remarkably low in comparison to how he came out the gate. He just couldn't maintain it. He did better at that last night's debate than he did at the first one, though, for sure. I'll tell you that much. The body language was better, especially, like I said at the beginning. The body language was better. The facial expressions were better. The kind of tinge of anger that he was throwing into it and the hyped up way he was presenting these problems as if, like, he really had this good thing going at the beginning where it was like, this debate is covering things and all of them are important, but here's the important thing. People are homeless. People have no health care. People are going out of their fucking minds. He had this real good narrative that I think if he could have kept that energy up, is what I'm saying. I think he would have really had a knockout performance last night, but he just didn't. It just kind of went all the way down to his fucking, he was done. I mean, I think that everybody on that stage was probably exhausted, but not everybody on that stage was a 70-something-year-old man, I wrote the damn bill. That was a good moment. He had a good moment. You bet your fucking ass I know it. I wrote the bill. I've never gotten White Castle, no. I don't know why. I've been in places where there were White Castles. I've always wanted to try it. But I have literally never... Okay, so that's not true. I got some really gross gas station White Castle burgers once. One of those things that's in the freezers and you're supposed to take it... I was at a hotel once. I went into a gas station and I saw they had, like, in that little, nuke, like where they keep the freezer burritos and the freezer pizzas and shit. And in there was like this little 4-pack of White Castle hamburgers. And I was like, oh, I've never had White Castle. Cool. I still think I have not had White Castle. Those hamburgers were fucking disgusting. But maybe I did. Maybe that's exactly how they taste coming out of the restaurant. I don't know. I'll let you know if I ever get some fucking White Castle. Of course, I've had Canes, yeah. And I got to be honest with you, like, I know people love Raising Cane's, and I know why. Their chicken tenders are really good. The chicken there is good, but they have a style of chicken tender that ain't my favorite. It's kind of a floppy tender. It's a thicker tender, you know what I mean? So it's like, God, there's a lot of meat to it. So when you pick it up, instead of having this nice, crisp, flat, breaded piece of chicken, which is what I want out of a tender, when you go to Cane's, you've just got kind of a big floppy dick of chicken. And it's good. The breading is good. It tastes good. The sauces are good. But I don't like that. That part of the experience keeps me from going to Cane's as much as I probably would. Just because I don't like that thicker, floppier tender. I want like a thinner, crispy, dippable kind of tender thing when I do the chicken tenders. You know? You feel me on that? Anybody feel me on that? Anybody had Cane's and thought like, it's good. It tastes real good, but it's a little floppy? I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I do have very peculiar eating habits, I guess, or hang-ups with food. So, I don't know. Maybe it is just me. Yeah, the tender is basically just like a nice, tasty, edible spoon for the sauce. At least that's the way I've always looked at it. Like when I was a kid, I'd get chicken nuggets, right? And barbecue was my favorite. Excuse me. And literally, like, I started thinking of it that way, you know, back in my early young kid days when I'd go through the McDonald's and get the, 6-piece nugget or whatever, I was more excited about the dipping sauce than the nugget. Yeah, it needs to be firm enough to where, like, I don't know how to put it. I'll show you guys in a second. Because, like, this is a controversial thing. Like, a lot of, like, the dudes like Cane's a lot. The only person in my crew down here that agrees with me on Cane's is Taylor, because she used to work at Raising Cane's and got sick of it. So she has a different reason, but she's the only one that, like, when people are like, oh yeah, let's get Cane's, she's the only one on my side. She's like, I don't want Cane's, and I'm like, I kind of don't either. I don't want the floppy tenders, dude. I want a nice, firm, crisp tender. Cane's. Raising Cane's is what it's called. It's a southern fast food place, like a chicken joint. Yeah, I agree, Medspeds. I mean, their sauce, I actually like their Cane's sauce. It's not bad, but it ain't the best sauce in the world. See, like, if their Cane's sauce was kicking, like, not just, okay, this is a good sauce for a tender, then that would probably set me off, and I'd probably go to Cane's more and get the floppy tenders, but yeah, their sauce is just, it's kind of like a Thousand Island-y kind of sauce. It's got a little zing to it, but it's not, I don't know. It's basically crawfish dip with extra pepper. Yeah, you're right. Very close to it, at least. Cane's is pretty big here in Southern Cali. Yeah, I'd never seen a Cane's till I came to the South. I know it started down here. I didn't know had made it to the West Coast yet. There's a lot of little eateries like that eventually when I do move out of the South, I'm going to miss, I guess. A Waffle House especially. That one, I haven't been to a Waffle House in a while, but just knowing it's there is comforting. Like, that place, I can't even tell you. I have more to say about Waffle House than I do some of the big, expensive steakhouses and seafood places I've gone that are, touristy and shit. Like, it's not that the food at the Waffle House is better or more unique or more skillfully prepared. It's that, like, I've never been to a place that's so fucking consistent in my life. there are places like Waffle House where I come from. Denny's is one of them, 24-hour diner type of places, right, where you can go in and get a hamburger or a cup of coffee or a stack of pancakes all fucking day. That's really what Waffle House is. It's a quick sit-down, cheaper option to sit and have really good rib-sticking, simple food. But like a Denny's would be the place that I would go in California for that. And let me tell you something about a Denny's. It's that same shit, or an IHOP. IHOP goes in that same category. A lot of IHOPs, maybe not all of them, but a lot of them are 24 hours and whole menu all day, all that shit. The difference is that those two places, IHOP, Denny's, places like it that I've gone, wildly inconsistent. You might go there one night, and it just hits the spot. You get the country fried steak or whatever the fuck you get, right? And it comes out, and it's just like, okay, yeah, that was good. And then sometimes you go to a Denny's, and you just get this flaccid shit. And it's nothing like the last time you got it. There's no consistency to it. There's no, you know what I mean? Just like horrible. So it's such a fucking coin flip going to a Denny's. I'm telling you what, dude, it is never, and I've been a bunch of times now to Waffle House at a bunch of different times of the day and night for different reasons. Like, I'm telling you, I've never gone to a Waffle House and not gotten good food. Consistently good food. The same food that I got the last time I was at Waffle House. My first experience at Waffle House was one of the craziest fucking things ever. I told the story on DP, but being there was like doubly crazy. My first Waffle House experience was insane. But the food that I got was fucking delicious. And I tell you what, the next time I went back to Waffle House, shit wasn't as insane, but I got the same food, just like it was insane. Same consistently good breakfasty kind of fucking food, yo. You know what I mean? Yeah, TJ has told the story a few times too. He was really happy that my first Waffle House experience was one of the worst. I think he told me it was the worst he's ever had. In terms of just like the level of crazy that went on in that store while we were there to eat. He told me that like he's been in some crazy Waffle House shit, but the one that we got was like the worst he'd ever seen. But the food that we got was good. Do you slap your sister again with a burger if you could? No, I don't think there'd be any reason for my sister and I to slap each other with burgers. We don't live together anymore, and we're not hormonal teenagers anymore. So, I think our burger slapping days are behind us. We do the hugs and sit down and have a cup of coffee thing these days. We're on that. My sister and I are on that note. We get together when we can. I hang out with her kids when I can. We talk when we can. We're chill. There's no animosity. All that shit is way behind us. I think both of us. I won't speak for her. Maybe she holds on to it, but if she does, she doesn't show it. And I know I don't. Have you seen the trailer for Lighthouse with Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe? And it looks so good. I have not, but I'll take a look at it. Paul in a good mood today? I've been in a good mood for a while. I've been in a good mood for a couple of weeks. I'm glad people can tell, all of the people that I work with have like independently come up to me and been like, "Oh man, you seem like you're doing okay. You like you're smiling a lot and you're kind of chipper and shit." I think they're a little put off by it, honestly. Yeah, coming out of the depression, indeed. It's one of those cyclical things, so there's always a bittersweetness to coming out of a deep, bad depression and anxiety spell because you know that there will be another, But for now, I'm not 100%. I'm still pretty wishy-washy, but I'm so much better. I'm so much better than I was 2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago, or a month ago, or 2 months ago. I mean, I was at my lowest fucking point 2 months ago, I think, that I've been... maybe ever. I don't know. I've been pretty low in my life, but just in terms of like how I felt and really not having an outlet for it. See, in times in my life where I've been as low as I was a couple months ago, I've had like these crutches I could go to. I abused drugs, pills. I would drink I would heavily just kind of do any kind of drug I could get my hand on to mask the pain. And this time I didn't do that. I cooked in it. I cooked in it for like 2 weeks alone. Just didn't even have Dynor. It was just me in a hotel room. And that was a tough time, man. I got to tell you. Just a tough time, you know, a hard, low point in my life. And I had to dig myself out of that, and I've kind of done it. I got my head above water a little bit again, and I'm smiling a lot more, and I don't know, dude. I'm just feeling better. The trip to California was like instrumental, dude, in more ways than I can even tell you. It wasn't just being at home with families. It's like everything that happened while I was down there was good, you know, in some way or another. So it was sorely fucking needed. I just needed, like, honestly, being back in Cali was good. Seeing my parents was good. That's always like a refreshing thing if you love your family and you have that kind of family. But really, not to denigrate them, what I needed most was just the time. You know what I mean? It has been a long time since I took a full fucking week off of work. A lot of shit has happened in between those times. You know what I mean? And I just needed to sit and be comfy and eat good food and just chill with people I know and love. And I did that in Cali, and it really helped. I mean, it really started my... Look, I was still real bad when I left Cali. When I came back from Cali to here, you know, I wasn't feeling great. But, you know, I had some little sparks of hope in my life, and I had some friends that helped me a whole lot, and I had a long time to sit and be introspective and think about how I got where I got. Not just about the relationship that ended, but about me. You know, it's one of those, as you get older, you might find that you take stock in your life at certain points when big things happen in a way that maybe I don't remember doing. I'm not trying to push everything off onto you if you're younger. But I've noticed, you know, when I was in my 20s, I don't know, I felt like it was harder to see the perspective and learn the lessons of the shit that happened to me. And now when shit like that happens to me, it's the other way around. Like, as soon as something bad happens to me, my mind kind of drifts to this, like, how did this happen? How did you get to this point? What decisions did you make or not make? How did you react? You know what I mean? It's just nice to be able to kind of understand yourself a little bit, if that makes sense. I don't think I'm smarter. I might have been smarter when I was younger, you know. I don't know. I've never really kept tabs on my own intelligence because I don't really care. I have what I have to work with, and I do what I can with it. But I do think I'm wiser. You know, if that's a boomer thing to say, then I guess I'm a fucking boomer. But wiser in the sense that, like, I know myself better. I know how to handle, I know how I react to shit. It was like, you know, for me, a big breakup like this, you guys don't even know. When I told you earlier that I didn't binge drink, that I didn't go and get pills, like, that may sound like oh, no shit. But for me, the only reason that I didn't was because of what I'm talking about here. That, like, experiential gap that was there when I was in my 20s has been filled in with experience now. And I knew that I'd have that impulse. I knew that I'd want to throw 3 sheets to the wind and just do crazy shit, get drunk all the time, you know, abuse opioids or whatever it is that but I didn't. I put myself in a position where I almost couldn't because I knew. And because of that, I didn't have a giant meltdown. I was able to keep working. I made every show. There was not a single fucking show that was canceled because of my breakup. Every show, every meeting, every fucking side piece of content. I did it all. In fact, the job really was the only stability I had for a while. It was the only predictable thing in my life. But I got it. I did it. I'm sitting here. I don't have those impulses anymore to do self-destructive shit. I'm feeling better. My life is doing okay. You know, I have a feeling it's going to be really way better in the very short future. I'm just in such a good fucking place, you know? So anyway, I won't go on and on about it, but you guys see me a lot at my lowest. That's why I share this shit with you guys. Because honestly, I'm not trying to foster a more intimate connection between the audience for this weird thing that I do and me, because there isn't one. But you guys do get to see me at some of my lowest lows. You know what I mean? Like when I'm just, this show is something I force myself to do sometimes because I just have to get out of my head and engage in some kind of human interaction. This show is that for me. So there have been hundreds of these fucking shows where, whether you knew it or not, I was on the brink. And I know some of you sense that. And so I'm glad that some of you sense that that's not the case now, you know. I'm doing okay. Do you look at Heidiology as therapeutic? Not in any real clinical sense, but certainly in a day-to-day sense, yeah. You guys are part of my routine. You know what I mean? I know I take breaks. I, you know, sometimes do one every day and sometimes go a couple of weeks, but like it's still part of my routine. It's part of what I do. And it's useful to me. You know, I'm a locked down person when it comes to being in my head sometimes. If I don't have somebody to sound things off of, I get really locked up in my head. And this show is like a dumping ground for that. Sometimes I come in, you know what I mean? And I just need to dump. And sometimes I don't even know what I need to take a dump about. I just need to take a fat dump about something. My brain is like bloated and it's got to, you know, needs to take a shit. And that might sound reductive, but it's really important to me. You know, I don't mean to paint this as like a dumping ground for my shit because I don't think of it that way. I'm just saying, like, that's how I come to this a lot. I come to this a lot going like, fuck. I feel so anxious. I feel so angry. I need to fucking go somewhere. I need to do something. I need to be around people who kind of know me. A little, at least. And that's you. That's you guys. And it has been for a long time. Yeah, you're my laxative. When my brain is constipated, you're my suppository, man. And once again, not to overstate the importance of Heidiology, because it is kind of a throwaway thing. It's not meant to be a piece of content that gets mass appeal and shit. It's really a fan interaction thing at the core of it, but it's important in other ways too. You know how much shit is labbed here that ends up as part of some main piece of content that we do? You know how many like weird little ideas that I've had here that are as a result of the weird little conversation that we all have together here that I take to our show and become, I mean, you know what I mean? So it's super important to me. Like, it's just a very, you know, like, you know, I don't know. It just is. Yeah, DFF equals DFF was a Coolman idea that he dropped on me here that ended up turning into an actual thing. There have been multiple times where you guys, like, I don't want to encourage it because it does get annoying sometimes, but every once in a while you guys will drop a really good idea that ends up being a show. I get to do characters and voices and shit that I parlay over into the show. I get to keep that instrument honed and sharp for when I need it on the show. Like last night, I would not have been, like, a lot of people liked at least the first couple of butthead things that I did. It ran out of steam a little bit because it's tough to it's tough to keep going. But the first 2 or 3 Beto buttheads that I did during the stream last night, people really liked them. And there was a lot of improvisational comedy shit that went into that. And if I didn't do these as often as I do, or if I didn't have this outlet, that moment might not have happened. Because that's not an instrument I can just summon if I don't use it ever. It gets dusty. Trust me, I know. When I first started at DP, I barely had that because it had been so many years since I was in a band, since I was in a show, since I really felt good enough to want to make people laugh by doing characters, since I practiced a voice, since I did accents. Like, all of that shit was caked under, like, 10 years or more of just dust. And I had to brush that off before I could start doing some of that stuff on the show. And part of the way I did that was ideas back on Periscope in the old days, you know. Ideas was like, I got to get out of my fucking head. It was my dumping ground. It was my laboratory. It was my place where I learned how to be funny again in those ways. So that's what this is, you know. Would you consider yourself apolitical when it comes to, like, if you're talking about American politics, then yes. I think apolitical would be a reasonably decent way to describe my position because I consider myself a non-participant. Like, I consider my non-participation in the process to be two things. Number one, a refutation of the process itself as being anything that works. And number two, a show of my dissatisfaction at the way that the country is currently set up. So that may not be an inherently apolitical view, but I think it lands at kind of an apolitical place when you look at it from the perspective of American politics. I don't give a hoot who wins the fucking presidency, dude. I don't care if one dude is slightly worse on social policies than another dude is. That's the smoke screen that I think I see through now. And I won't be filled with such hubris as to tell you that I'm absolutely right, or that you should emulate my position, or that I think that people that do vote are inherently just fucking stupid for doing so or having a different. No, I don't. But when it comes to me, I have zero faith in the political process in this country. I think it is not only completely subverted by the corporate class, but I think it's also open to mass manipulation. And I think it has been mass manipulated in the past and will continue to be in terms of changing voter rolls, hacking into these Diebold voting machines, which apparently you can do 18 different fucking ways, fudging the count, making the count look better with redistricting. It's just gerrymandering is all about making your vote not count. See what I mean? So even if you do take part in your political duty, if you see it that way, put on your American t-shirt and go down there and get your sticker, there's a good chance that your vote just gets thrown in the trash or counted for the wrong guy. And that's before your vote even translates to political movement. Then, whichever guy you elected, or the people around you supposedly elected, whichever guy the billionaire class and the corporate class in America decides they want it elected, gets elected, and your powerlessness continues. Why? I'm not asking to sell you yourself on it, because you've already done that if you vote. Sell me on it. Sell me on participation in that process with something other than, well, it's better than doing nothing, because I don't think it is. I don't share that view. So you can keep that one on the shelf and give me a reason to go out there and vote, knowing all of that's true, presuming all of the things that I just talked about and many more that I didn't about the subversion of our political process when it comes to voting. Convince me. If you make a logically sound argument that's good enough to convince me, I will go vote. I've always been open to that. I just don't hear it from anybody. From the mainstream media, from the alternative media, from the YouTube media, from the leftist community, from the conservative community, from the centrist community. None of them have given what I call a cogent defense of voting in America, knowing all the political truths that we know. Not one. So if you can do that, you'll be doing something that nobody can do so far. At least when it comes to me. So I'm open to it, dude. I want to be wrong. Convince me. Get me re-engaged in this process. There's already been a snowball effect of non-voters. The majority of people in this country are with me. The majority of people in this country do not vote. I'm not trying to make an argumentum ad populum here and claim that numbers make me right, but I'm just using those numbers to tell you that I think that that avalanche already happened, and it's for the very fucking reasons I just talked about too. There's a certain element of this country that knows it's bullshit. It's a pageant, it's a dog and pony show, it's, not to use a Trumpism, rigged to the extreme. And they're sick of it, and they don't want to waste their mental energy on it. They don't want to participate anymore because they know it's going nowhere. They see it circling the drain. Not voting is not anti-democratic. It's just this kind of voting is stupid. Well, maybe. I don't really care if not voting is anti-democratic because I'm not a democratic apologist. I don't know that, in fact, I know that democracy is not the best political system that we could ever come up with. I know it's not the most direct way to make sure that people are happy and free in their lives. Not direct democracy, not even indirect representative democracy like we have. Too flawed. The groundwork is too shaky. It can't be saved. Then what? I wish I could fill your head with a ton of great talking points on that. And we have here before. We've talked about then what before. So if you've been around, you know some of my thoughts on that at the very least. But the answer that I give that's the most honest is, I don't know. And that may come off as hacky or stupid or a non-answer to some of you guys, but I don't. I'm not a savvy enough political brain to construct an entire government out of nothing that not only addresses the problems of the current government, but addresses the problems that are emergent in the current government that we don't even really talk about yet. I don't know how to do that. I don't know. I do know that money is at the root of that capitalism has to go. That's what I know for an absolute fact. As much as I love it. And I started this shit with a fucking 20, 30-minute American tirade. I'm a capitalist. But that doesn't, that you have to be one to live in the country that I live in, number one. And number two, that doesn't mean that I implicitly support capitalism as the best way to do things. It has to go. This idea that a human being's life is defined by finding a job that they hate and spending 8 hours of drudgery for just enough money to get by has to die. And the only way that dies is if the capitalistic drive dies. And the only way if that dies is if we start having some hard conversations about the economy. Because it's not working. Those of you that are younger, were probably super young in 2008. If you're in your early 20s now, in 2008, you were a fucking child. And I don't know if you sensed it radiating off of your parents, those of you that weren't old enough to understand it. But the housing and total financial collapse of 2008 was the most insane thing that's happened in this country since 9/11 in terms of the existential danger it posed to us as a people. It was a nightmare. And it was just like a mini stroke belying a huge heart attack for this economy. It almost sunk the world. Not just America. It's not like we were just about fucked. America's the world now. When it comes to the economy, we're inextricably linked. Every country on this planet suffered and almost went under. It was a tightrope walk that I'm actually shocked we managed to navigate as a people. And I'm not talking about an American, I'm talking about as a species. You young folks that didn't know what the stock market was at that point, that didn't know what paying bills was at that point, that didn't know what being an adult was at that point. I'm trying. The reason I'm bringing this up is I'm trying to warn you. Your parents may not have impressed it upon you, but that was almost belly up for this country and belly up for this planet. And I want you to know that as young people, because you hear a lot of bullshit out of the news media. Record-breaking stock day. And I've said it on the show before, and I'm going to say it here again. The economy globally is an insane, wobbly house of cards that we just keep piling shit on top of. And eventually, it's going to be one fucking joker too many. And when that comes down, I don't want you guys to have your heads up your asses. I want to try and impress upon you, because I was a fucking adult. I was 28 years old when that happened. I was working at the school district. I had stock options and shit. It flipped my world upside down. And I was lucky. My house that I had just purchased lost insane amounts of value. And I was lucky because I had a job that wasn't going anywhere. And my ex-wife had a job that wasn't going anywhere. A lot of people didn't have that. Stop listening to the news and looking at that stock number and feeling a sense of warm fuzziness and fucking comfort with that. That's what they want. The reason it's like that is because they're absconding out the back with all of that money. They're massively misreporting profits. They're massively manipulating incredibly fucking complex pieces of, like, debt to make it look like we've got this giant balloon of money that just keeps filling up, getting bigger. It's a ruse. I'm not saying it's happening tomorrow. I'm not saying it's happening 5 years from now, but you bet your fucking ass the collapse is coming, and the next one's going to be worse than the last one, because we're still suffering from the last one. We still, when it comes to a lot of the metrics in American life, have not fully recovered from the Great Recession, and we're building another one that's even bigger, and it's about to come down. What can you do? Not a whole lot, but knowing it is going to help. Like, at least being in the know that it's all bullshit and that any second the bottom could fall out. You're better off than 80% of America, who just thinks it's hunky-dory, business as usual, everything's booming, America's still great, still ascendant. Like, if you're a person that knows that the American empire is in steady and rapid decline, and you're a person that knows that the global economy is propped up by the shakiest popsicle foundation that you can fucking think. It's like a bunch of popsicle sticks glued together with Elmer's glue holding this shit up. And in order to keep people thinking everything's okay, we keep opening up new decks of cards and stacking it on top of this wobbly tower we've made. And eventually it's going to be one card too many. One deck too many. And that popsicle stick Elmer glue foundation is going to... And it ain't going to fucking help you a whole lot, but if you know it, you're a step ahead of the rest. Most of the people around this place and every other place, they don't know it. They got no clue. They might even think they know it, and they don't know it. I don't even really know it. I can't even imagine how bad this is going to be. I can't even imagine it. So I'm not even claiming that I know it. But most people don't. Most people, at least in this country, don't have a clue. And it's fucked. That's why capitalism has to end, Daniel. You said instead of ending capitalism, we need to know how to make the corporations accountable. That's not possible in a capitalistic system. That's the problem. That's the problem. The problem is that when you have a capitalistic system, which naturally corporations are going to be at the top of that, they're making the money. When you have a capitalistic system where corporations are making all of the money, and you have a system where those corporations can translate that money into political favors, you can't. You cannot hold them accountable. That's why this legislation never comes along. That's why it gets gutted after it gets passed. It's because the corporations have the millions of dollars and the funds and the access to private jets and golf junkets and kitchen remodels and all the other shady bullshit that happens. They can do that, and you can't. You can't take your checkbook up to Capitol Hill and cut $1 million checks and say, hey, when that vote comes up, vote for universal health care, bro. There's no you lobby. It's impossible. In a system where capitalism is the overarching structure of the economic, lay of the land, there's no way to keep a corporation accountable. There's no way. You can pass laws, they write in loopholes. You can retool old laws to be more modern, they write in loopholes. They find ways to do it. Sometimes they just break it. Think about that. Sometimes it's way cheaper for a corporation to just break the law over and over and over again and keep doing shady shit, and then at the end of the year when they get caught, they pay $1 million fine. Whoop-de-fucking-do. That's standard practice. Not at little shady mom and pop shops, at big ass corporations like Amazon, Google, Walmart, Lockheed Martin. Hiding profits, misstating profit margins, mispaying their employees, refusing to provide the benefits that the law says they have to provide. There are huge corporations in this country that pay fines every fucking year on that. Every year, like it's just part of their bills. Oh, here's our law-breaking bill came due. Cut that $1 million check to the government. That's off our shoulders till next year. It's cheaper, abso-fucking-lutely. It is cheaper for them to break the fucking law blatantly in your face. By the way, you as an American citizen, you as a normal person, not a corporation, you go out and break the law and see what happens. Your ass is in jail. You take money that you're not supposed to take from the government, your motherfucking ass is in prison. Federal. But if you're a corporation, cut a check. Well, I'd rather not go to jail, so how about $1 million? Oh, that'll be fine. See you next year. All right. Keep breaking the law, everybody. That's why. All this talk that people have of trying to hold on to this little capitalism thing and fix the corporate, it doesn't work. That would be like me coming to you and trying to convince you that you need to give me 70% of your paycheck. How easy is it going to be for me to walk into your house and go like, hey, how's it going, man? I'm Paul, and it's really not fair that you have all this extra money, so I'm going to take 70% of that. Would you ever allow that to happen? Would you do everything in your fucking power to keep me from taking 70% of your fucking take home? The answer is yes. What do you think corporations are going to do when we say, hey guys, party's over, no more buying influence, and your tax rate's going up, you're going to start paying for the privilege of doing business in this country? What do you think they're going to do when that starts getting genuinely talked about? Roll over and go, all right, it was a good time. We got nice and fat, I guess, but time to hit the treadmill. Fuck no. They're going to cut a check so fat your head would spin. And these dumbass politicians that made it through this marred-ass fucking bullshit-ass fucking electoral process that we were talking about at the beginning of this rant are going to roll over like a bunch of pot-bellied pigs for it. And you're going to suffer. That's why I don't vote. Next topic. You can clip and post the rant if you want. I've always said that. Anybody wants to clip up the show and make something out of it, you ain't gonna get no trouble from me. Does your anxiety result in physical pain? If so, how do you deal with that? My anxiety probably contributes to a lot of physical pain, and how I deal with it is I try and stretch. I don't know, dude. I try and mitigate the pain as best I can. I live with a lot of pain. Not as much as some people. I got a really bad back. That's the real core of a lot of my pain, and the muscle tension and stuff that pulls on my spine in different directions, and my shoulders and my neck. All of that is contributed directly to by my anxiety. It's one of the things I try and deal with, you know. I mean, yeah, healthy, Paul, honestly, a little bit. It helps. Does the wasted potential of mankind sadden you, Paul? You used to. I used to really lament the plight of the human monkey. But as I got older, and I'm not trying to claim I'm some fucking hippie or some super nature guy. I love nature. But as I got older, I started getting more involved with animals. And it really wasn't as a result of any political decision. I just wanted to do something that was good. But ultimately, like, I started to see what we've done to this planet. Not just the little puppies and shit that I was working with at the animal shelter, but like the things that live out in the fucking woods and in the deserts and in the oceans and in the streams. Like, we have fucked this planet. We fist fucked it. And it's those creatures who suffer worse than we do. We get to tap dance around it to the most part, at least here in the first world. In the third world, they're swimming in garbage too. And I started, it's not a hatred for the human animal. I won't claim to have that. I still have a deep, abiding empathy for human beings and for people. But I just don't think of it that way. I don't really have that sorrow for us. Dude, for me, in my mind, the writing is on the wall for this species, and we deserve what we're getting. And honestly, I think the planet will be a better place for our passing. And it's, you know, on a long enough scale, that's just guaranteed. I think that what little life might survive some kind of extinction event that kills us and most everything else would have a better shot at being more in tune with its environment, being less driven by the weird emotional desires and the weird existential crises that drive the human animal to consume more and to hoard more and to build higher fences between people and to steal land and to take land by force and to engage in constant grinding and ceaseless war as an economic pursuit. The paychecks, like the bill is coming due, guys, on humanity. And I'm not the type of person anymore to shed a salty tear for us as a species. Because we, as a species, not us individually, but we as a species, have fist fucked this place. And like I said, the bill's coming due. And we're not going to have enough money to, there's not going to be enough resources, there's not going to be enough of anything to pay that bill. It's the balloon payment. Nobody soured me. Sorry, just give me a sec. Maybe we should still try. Go for it. Go pick up a shovel. I know that there are some beaches in the Caribbean that literally the tide comes in and it looks like a sea of garbage. Go for it, man. Get out there, get a trash bag, and start picking that up. See if you can motivate some people to go with you, too, because it's probably going to be a pretty big job. I'll be right back. I got to get some another bottle of water and take a leak. Don't go anywhere. Hello. Hello. Welcome back. Well, why am I welcoming you back? You've been here. You should welcome me back. Where's my welcome back? Huh? How come I never get a welcome back from you guys? Why am I always the one like, oh, hey guys, I'm back. Oh, yeah. Like, I was the one that was gone. You should be welcoming me back. So demanding, I know. I know, dude. I'm high maintenance. What can I say? I'm a high maintenance, stupid stream host. This isn't an airport, Paul. Oh, you got a point. You got a good point. We've allowed a small number of fat, parasitic billionaires to destroy our habitat and reap the benefits. That is the saddest part of our collective demise. I don't really think it's all that sad. I mean, we're not the first fucking species to out-eat its environment. That's really like, on a base level, if you really reduce it, that's what we're doing. We are a species that has moved into its environment, and rather than remaining in homeostasis with that environment, we have hyper-exploited it. And we're starting to kill our food source. We're not the first species to do it. Probably won't be the last. Well, shit. How long have we been here today? 90 minutes? What time is it? Yeah, I got shit to do. I think I'm going to call it. I think I got a good rant out today. Got a good American, like, jingoistic speech in. I mean, man, dude, pretty good Heidiology. I'm not going to lie. But, yeah, I'm going to go. I'll see you guys. Bye.